Alex, I wanted to start with you because you hear so much about how this has really legitimized the crypto space. What happened today that changed the way you're thinking about your business and a rewards program with Bitcoin?
Yeah, so the Coinbase IPO was incredible for the space. It was a validator that you can create a cryptocurrency company, and you can make Bitcoin more accessible to the world, and you can have real market value in something such as a centralized market, such as the New York Stock Exchange. So I think Coinbase was great. The Coinbase IPO went really well. It was above, I think, what many people expected. It did, have a little bit of a dip, and the Jay Powell quote was really interesting. But if the government doesn't recognize cryptocurrency and it thinks it's just as a speculation, the U.S. government's going to get left behind, and thus the U.S. people are going to get left behind. I think we need more companies like Coinbase and Lolli that are leading the way for mainstream adoption of Bitcoin, not just being a speculative currency, but actually a currency that is being used by millions of people.
So, Alex, big words there. Alexis, let me bring you into this. Do you agree? I mean, has this really legitimized sort of a business that you believed in just a few years ago?
Oh, very much so. And look, I was very fortunate to have been among the earliest investors in Coinbase something like 8 or 9 years ago. Those were the early days of cryptocurrency. And we've seen 3 waves of adoption here. We saw mining, we've seen buying, and Coinbase has been at the heart of that. And I really believe earning is next, and that's the piece that Lolli satisfies. And look, it has now normalized crypto as something. It's a publicly traded opportunity now via Coinbase, and something that anyone with a smartphone and a bank account can now get an on-ramp to. I think we're going to see more and more diversification, and especially the portfolios of our generation, digital natives, not going to look anything like the portfolios of our parents and grandparents. And that's why I think you're seeing a lot of the increased adoption. But now more and more institutions are actually going to find ways to use crypto as yet another part of a healthy and diverse portfolio.
Yeah, Alex, let me come back to you then, because you just heard Alexis mention it's not just Bitcoin, right? Like, this is so much more than that. It's other cryptos. How are you thinking with your platform that maybe it's Bitcoin cashback rewards, or maybe it actually turns into being, Ethereum, you name it, so many other cryptos that have now become legitimized?
I think Bitcoin is the most important cryptocurrency in the world right now, and it's one that has already proven its value to society. I think that things like stable coins are starting to prove their value to society as being a more efficient medium of exchange. Bitcoin is the best store of value over the last 10 years, and that's undeniable. Stable coins are going to make transactions on top of fiat rails way more efficient. I think merchants are tired of paying fees on every single transaction. They're tired of fraud and not having not having an immutable currency like cryptocurrencies allow for. So I think stablecoins are going to usher in this next wave of adoption with more efficient payments. Merchants, our merchants included, are going to adopt those stablecoins to accept Bitcoin more widely. And consumers should ultimately have the choice of whether they pay with Bitcoin, whether they pay with stablecoins, and they should opt into the currency of their choice, whatever is more efficient and makes more sense for their needs. And then merchants should be able to accept any currency that consumers are willing to pay with.
Alex, let me follow up with you again then, because you mentioned that consumers should be able to pay with whatever currency. Just given the numbers on your platform, have you found, I know, for example, I use Rakuten, but it's dollars, it's cashback. Have you found that consumers have pivoted to your platform because they indeed actually want Bitcoin versus cash?
Absolutely. So Rakuten actually bought my last company, so we know them well. So we actually, since we launched, Bitcoin was at around $4,000. Now, Bitcoin is clearly at all-time record highs at 64,000, 63,000. So effectively, we're 10 times, 12 times better than Rakuten at this point for many of our users. People want a currency that is continuing to go up over time. I think they're tired of non-inflationary currencies. Inflationary currencies. And so they're looking to things like Bitcoin that are better stores of value. And so far, they've been very happy with earning Bitcoin over cash for their everyday purchases. I think over the next few years, as users start to get the choice to earn Bitcoin as sort of their Bitcoin being their savings account, and then they can use stable coins as their spending account, I think that would be the most efficient medium of exchange, coupled with the most efficient store of value for the perfect payment cycle.
Alexis, let me come to you as an early investor in some of these companies. I'm thinking Coinbase, the way it has changed and become really a different company, and how we think about crypto has changed so much. What are you looking for in terms of maybe some of the exit strategies or the future growth opportunities as you really have your eye on some of these early sectors?
Well, a glaring one for me, and the reason why Lolli was such an obvious investment, crypto still remains the domain of predominantly men. And yet, half the population is women. And when you look at consumer spending and just sort of activity of dollars, you'd be really, really naive to ignore half the population. And so the reality here is, there are lots of people who are actually getting on board with Bitcoin for the first time via Lolli, because it's an on-ramp that doesn't require you to go through the hurdles of like getting in the mindset of I want to be an investor and I want to invest in this and syncing all the things you have to sync, but instead saying, look, you're already shopping, you're already buying online, you want to save money, do it in Bitcoin instead of dollars. And that's a powerful value proposition that's attracting more and more women in addition to men. And I think that's a huge, huge opportunity, because if we accept that Bitcoin and crypto is around to stay, it would be pretty naive to not be building products and not be building services they're going to serve the entire population. And I think this continues to be a huge room for growth.
Are women coming to you and telling you that this is indeed the way in which they feel comfortable?
Absolutely. So we saw when we first started Lolli that one of the biggest problems in crypto is that it was reported that only 4% of all crypto users were female. And I wanted to share Bitcoin with my mom, my sister, my friends, and I felt like in a lot of cases women are more risk averse than men when it comes to investing. And so if we can attach it to something that everybody does, which is shop, and we can also create or work with some amazing creators and athletes like Serena Williams and Michelle Phan that speak to tens of millions of women every single day, we can reach more people with this financially inclusive product like Lolli, and we can make Bitcoin more accessible to everybody, which is our core mission.